They have been prepared to move over. And look at that! And colossally, that's Mansell. That is Nigel Mansell. And the car absolutely shattered. He's fighting for control, and you can see what's happened. Mansell is out of the race. Now, this could change and will change the World Championship.
Enough, I think, what Berger did. And that looks, Schumacher's off. Schumacher's lost time.
Yeah.
Hill goes by.
Oh, out goes Schumacher. The German is out of the Australian Grand Prix, and Damon Hill only has to keep going to be world champion of 1994, but can he keep going?
Next year, and there, Mika Häkkinen, that looks unpleasant. There's a big shunt. Mika Häkkinen has gone sideways heavily into the tower wall, and this may well see a red flag because that car is in a precarious position, and the medics will be very quickly, there it is, in fact, the medical unit straight onto the scene to get attention to Mika Häkkinen as quickly as possible. We're not quite sure where that... Look, there we see the marks. Very heavy brake.
And Senna really trying with the back markers. And that's just what he was looking for. He got close enough and we missed it, but Senna must have had a real go then. And there's still a car in front of them.
They'll both go out! Senna, Mansell was destined not to finish the Australian Grand Prix, and that's exactly the same situation for Ayrton Senna that he was in the previous year with his left wheel, and Mansell is furious!
So we're back into it now. Mark Winterbottom leads the way. Oh, no, we're not into it.
That's a big accident.
That's really big. So Greg Murphy's involved, and one of the Techno Autosports cars.
Now Murphy, I just spoke to.
I caused it and we are done.
So Murphy just said, I caused it and we're done.
After the break, and this will show you what's happened.
Oh,
so
no.
Murph arrives in a hurry. Oh,
Wow.
This has been coming for a long time, this sort of incident, unfortunately. It's this huge speed differential as everyone tries to find their space. You know, somebody's at full tilt, in this case Greg Murphy, while someone else is just dawdling along. And yeah, that's just very, very bad and sad to see. It's $1 million worth of race cars there across those two vehicles.
That is heavy.
they go in search of their own piece of real estate. They bump and grind and push and shove, and now they've got to come all back together again. Jason Bright over and over and up and into the wall. Oh.
That started with Slade down the inside.
Okay. Yep, I'm trying to just give us a radio call if you're there, Bridie.
Huge damage to car 16 of Scott Pye again.
Yep.
Yeah. The electronics in the car shut down. Here's the replay. This will give us some explanations.
We'll try to come in together. So it's Tim Slade leans on the Holden Racing Team car, which just sends Team BOC Commodore flipping into the air. This was what happened. They all fanned out and then they all came back in, and it was never going to work. Van Gisbergen and Kelly get through, and then watch car 47 just pushes across, and it doesn't take much for Garth Tander just to lean on the front left-hand side of Jason Bright.
It's that secondary impact that's the worry there with the wall, and it got right up on the top of the debris fence.
This is Lee Holdsworth's view. Oh, that was the big crunch that he... Okay, so he got hit by Scott Pye and a few others.
The contact actually started with the two Red Bull cars. They actually made contact on the way in there also. There's Slade down the inside. He makes contact with Tander. Tander makes contact with Bright. Totally out on the slide. Full opposite lock, so he's trying to steer it down. So Jason's trying to make sure it doesn't turn onto its roof. It then catches the curb, and the curb then trips it over. So as it gets to that point there, it was always going to turn over.
Must have picked up the front right wheel of Tander's car in order to be able to do that launch, and Tander's in the pit lane and has been there for a while now as well, so it'd be pretty fair old damage on that. It's this next whack with the wall. All this stuff looks spectacular, but at that stage, you know, it's not a crazy amount of damage. It's this next one where it hits the concrete wall. It is tyre protected and then gets into the debris fence, where they're going to have a big nightmare trying to resolve getting this car back in shape.
fortunately, where the massive load has actually taken place in terms of the final part of the crash, Neil, it was actually against the tyres there. That's taken some load away from that.
And that's a tonne and a half. Yeah. That's a tonne and a half in the air there.
It's just been tossed around like a toy car.
I'm in the garage with Brad Jones, and Brad, no team is more of a family than...
We've got big trouble for Whincup in the wall. Car number 1 has hit the wall at turn 8. A disaster for the reigning champion.
Okay there, buddy?
This is a big story. He's currently in 7th. Whincup has plucked the left-hand side off that car.
That car certainly is, and here it is. So it's made contact quite early. We'll just try to get that a little bit earlier for you. But that damage, because you just can't keep it off the fence then. So there's two things that can happen. Here we go. Gone. He actually lost the rear of the car, unlike any of the others so far. All the others have been essentially understeering, the front of the car lacking grip. There's that wheel going. The debris fencing did a really good job to contain that tyre and wheel that was firing off there. Now have a look how sideways this car is. Sideways, sideways. Misses the turning point, gets the grey, which is the outside slippery surface, and had no way of correcting that car. There's the tyre. Actually jumped over the car at that point there. That's quite lucky. And watch this. The debris fencing catches the tyre and wheel, and it then runs down the escape road. Shane van Gisbergen was having a good look there. Well done. That could have been quite a big moment. So, what a slide. Have a look how sideways that car was. That reminds me of Glenn Seaton's one many years ago. That was a...
And that's punched through to the other side, to the right-hand side. So that's extensive damage. It's pushed everything across on the transaxle and all the rear suspension, and it's actually popped the right.
Landretti, big trouble for Cam Waters, damaged the brand new car. It's yanked the right front out of that car, and you can see the scuff marks down the left side. That'll be turn 8. What a frustration for Waters, whose pre-season prep has been intense, and he's very cranky with himself. Red flag. Brad Wuscherson, Nathaniel Osborne in the garage at Tickford. But that's a disappointment. Let's see what happened. Turn 8. There's been signs of this from a few people, so it's big push understeer. He's not responding to the front and has just bruised that wall hard. And then it's just a disaster for the next couple of 100 metres. Here's the onboard.
I wonder where it plucks the right. Oh, here we go. About to tell the story.
Yeah, I was about to say there's more to it as to when he gets to the next wall. So it's bad enough that they're dealing with left-hand damage on this car, but they've now got it going on both sides. So here's the other angle. That's very heavy contact. That's going to get into cross members and uprights and you name it.
Especially this one now.
And now this one here.
Yeah. Bang! That's hit hard.
Yeah, so that's both sides of the front and the left rear. So the only thing that you might have got away with there is there might be minimal bruising on the right rear.
But do you remember Mostert doing a similar thing? Remember it went right across to the inside wall? It's unusual when you've done that and you've plucked that out.
Well, you can't steer.
You're a passenger, aren't you?
Basically sitting there going for the ride.
But when he turned in, there were two things. We'll have a look at the turn-in spot. But when he turned in, it's still going...
They're touching this side to side on the way to 8.
Kelly gets past Cameron McConville. Now there's a bingo here.
Will they get through there two abreast?
Well...
Yeah, no, they won't. There's chaos. There's chaos.
Oh, this is
and
a
I
bad
didn't
one.
think you could possibly get two cars through there. This stuff's...
Here, we've got to look at this from a few angles. It's Dumbrell here trying to make a pass on Cameron McConville, and this in the sweeper just touched him, just enough to turn him around. And look at what happened. Damage. It was barely a touch. It looked like they didn't touch
well,
it.
at 220 Ks, you can imagine.
No, it doesn't take much. And the cars are fairly unloaded there.
Just enough of a touch. Look at that.
Yeah.
Push the tail out. Cam trying to gather the car up, but by that stage,
a victim.
So Jones and Stephen Johnson.
One in the fence. There's one in the fence hard at the turn 8.
And Douglas is gone. There must be oil down there. There's stuff down there because they're spearing off everywhere. Taz Douglas has gone into the wall on the other side. Courtney was the first in, and somebody else has followed them heavily.
This is turn.
It's Jason Bright. Big in.
And
enough to shift him, but is it enough to... Oh, huge moment.